Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard to our newest episode of Dropkicks and Attractions. I'm, of course, the Prince of Pop Culture and the Nostalgia Nincompoop. I guess I'm still working on that. Xander Invictus, joined by my close personal friend and the most Yu-Gi-Oh-ist of Yu-Gi-Ohs, Big Boct.
Today's been a great day for me. I'm getting things settled in my personal life. Are you doing okay as well, Xander?
Not too bad. Went out to dinner with my mom tonight, which is always a good thing.
Your mom is a very nice lady.
Don't tell her that to her face, please.
Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't need to know she's a nice person.
I'm sure she knows anyway, but I'll make sure to avoid saying it.
I would appreciate that. Anyways, sitting here with the sipping on the greatest pop in the world, and yes, it's called pop, not cola or soda. I don't need that kind of negativity in my life.
Nor do I.
And the correct answer is Cherry Coke Zero, by the way.
I'm sipping on a tangerine mango bottle of sparkling water.
Ooh, fancy. Bougie Botion over here. All right, so we are covering Monday Night Raw of May 24th, 1993. We're a couple weeks away from King of the Ring. And we are covering the 29th of May 29th of 1993, Saturday night, the fallout from Slamboree. And we're also right away getting into Clash of the Champions, which is actually only a couple weeks away.
Looking forward to it. Good card so far.
Absolutely. And we actually do get our first match announced for Clash of the Champions, which we will announce once we get to WCW. But let's get into the concession stand. Sir, what have you been consuming?
I'm listening to Atop the Fourth Wall. I just passed his 6th anniversary, which was in 2014. Getting ready, I think I mentioned, I'm getting ready to watch Laid Back Camp again. That's just cute girls going camping. And what else? Oh yes, Robert Dunn of Aging Wheels. He's another YouTuber I like to follow. And he's currently working on an electro conversion of a Ford Escape to run on Tesla large drive units.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a fascinating subject. Just the process he's gone through designing the components that he needed to build, the actual build process. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
That does sound like a lot of fun.
How about you, Xander? What have you been watching?
Not much of anything. I've been sleeping a lot, actually. I slept for about 12 hours last night.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. It was I had many hours to work in at work. We had a corporate inspection at work. That's the same weekend. I work Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. But I have a few days off now, so I'm gonna take advantage of that. TV shows, once again, it's horrible for me to try to watch TV shows, even like streaming wise. I did watch the newest. I'm a big cinema snob fan. Everybody knows me, and those cinema snob, like those kind of movies are right up my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
The most recent episode he just did was on the first Phantasm, which I enjoyed that first Phantasm. So, but once again, he has great taste with movies. Like his show, I've been watching his show. Oh God, I found his show from Spoonie.
Oh my gosh, was that before he signed up with that guy with the glasses / Channel Awesome?
I think so, because I was a massive fan of Spoonie back in like peak Spoonie days.
Mm-hmm.
And he had Brad Jones, that's the cinema snob. He actually had his first channel removed because of the makers of the Nail Gun Massacre.
Oh gosh.
Because people don't know how studios and corporate people don't know how fair use works.
Right.
Don't get me started on that. So no, and then Spoonie's like, oh yeah, I like this guy. Here's a couple of his episodes. And at the time, he was only doing movies no later than 95. Obviously, he's gotten rid of that caveat, but he does mainly like horror, exploitation. He does do some porn. He also has this thing where he does a lot of like the pure flicks, like those religious movies.
Mm.
And then he actually kind of made his version of it too. It's called Jesus Bro, because he's also a filmmaker. It's one of those that lampoons it without being disrespectful. He doesn't lampoon. He lampoons it in a fun way.
I got you. That's a hard line to walk.
Yeah, and like he's one of those that, and when he does the reviews, they're not anti-religious or anything. It's his own spin on the ridiculousness of the movie making and not ridiculousness of religion, if that makes sense.
It does. I used to watch him every now and then. I think the last new episode I watched of his was Bushwhacked.
Oh, God, you're talking 10 years, if not more?
Yeah, it's been a while.
But no, I watch him religious. No pun intended. I do watch him religiously. But yeah, he just did the first Phantasm, and it's also he's nice because I like, with me doing content creating, and he's one of the guys I look to. Plus, it's always nice. I learn something from him every week. Like, oh, I didn't know about this actor or this or how they filmed this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always learning from him. And then another one I discussed that I want to bring up, I discussed with you, is Austin Eruption.
Don't think you've mentioned them before.
I've talked about him a couple times, like in private, but he does video game reviews. And the age of lit shit on bad video games
Right.
reviews, that's we're done and over with that.
Yeah.
So he does do like bad video games, but he does a lot of like bad video games or like clones, like he did God of War clones a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And other video, the one recent one he just did, his most recent one was Forgotten Marvel games, like video games.
Mm-hmm.
And like I found out that back in the the early like PC days, like Howard the Duck had a video game.
What?
Yeah, I was like, okay, you're talking like Commodore or like the ZX Spectrum type days. There was a Howard the Duck video game.
I actually had a Commodore 64 in the 90s. It was donated to me by one of my teachers.
Yeah, no, I remember having those in school. But no, and then the one game he talked about, like some of them I did remember, some of those like, oh, I didn't know this existed. But at the end, he did talk in length about the Deadpool video game, which I enjoy rather well. It's a very fun game.
I had forgotten that he had that.
Yeah, it's fun. But that's all, and plus the normal countdowns and stuff, and all the other podcasts and stuff I watch off site. Yeah, I'm boring. I haven't watched much of anything this week.
I gotcha.
So let's go ahead and get into, while I bring up the wheels for this week, to be or not to be. And as always, we acquiesce to you, sir. If you want to go ahead and talk about the movie you got, which once again, Totes Jelly.
Alrighty, I was assigned Kickboxer this time, which is a Jean-Claude Van Damme martial arts movie. You wouldn't think those two would go together.
No. Especially since he was in Breakin' 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, he was actually in the crowd for that, but go on.
All right. Yeah, so the basic plot of the movie is that Jean-Claude Van Damme is the brother of a very good kickboxer. They go to Thailand and things do not go well. Jean-Claude learns Muay Thai from a sensei, I guess you call it. It's not the right language, but yeah. And he fights the guy that beat his brother.
That's basically the entire movie. It's a simple movie.
Yeah, very simple, but I enjoyed it. You were right. You were right when you said I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed in the credits Van Damme helped direct a lot of the fights, and that was really neat to know.
Yeah. And there was 4 sequels. He was not in any of them.
Yeah, you mentioned that last week when we rolled the wheels. Like 2, 3, and 4 are consistent with each other, and then 5 is just something completely different, right?
Yeah, because basically what happens is the beginning of the second one, Van Damme and his brother are killed off screen.
Oh, that's how it happened.
And then part 5, the character from 2, 3, and 4 was killed kind of off screen, but it was like shadow people. It was like all in like shadows.
Gotcha.
So yeah, like you had a lot of movies like that. Like Kickboxer has sequels like that. Best of the Best, which is a Taekwondo movie, has like sequels that had the second one does, but then by the time you get to part 5, you're like, oh, this has nothing to do with the first one.
I actually took Taekwondo classes for a while when I was young.
That I want to see.
I wasn't fat back then.
Oh well, I still want to see it. So okay, so what would you rate this? What would you letterbox this?
I letterbox this at 3.5. Nice, solid movie.
Yeah. I would recommend if you have so inkling, check out the sequels. 5 is I had trouble finishing 5. For somebody like me who loves a good action movie, I had trouble finishing 5. If that says anything.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
2, 3, and 4 I could watch. Like they were harmless.
Okay.
Unfortunately, guys, my streak's over.
Alrighty, tell us all about it.
I got Free the Nipple, and it's not as sensuous as you would think it would be.
Mm-hmm.
What it is, and I lived in New York City at the time. I lived in New York City for about 3 years. And for those that don't know, it actually is legal for women to walk around topless.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Because it's the whole, oh, hey, if men can do it, women can do it too. And it's a law. It's legal. And the basis of the movie is supposed to be is that there was a movement of women saying, hey, you can't arrest us or do anything because, hey, we're doing this too. So they're running around topless. The cops would arrest them. They would let them go because the law's on the books, this, that, and the other. Okay, cool. I vaguely remember this because this was happening around the same time as, do you remember Occupy Wall Street?
Vaguely.
That movement? It was on the news.
Yeah, yeah.
This was going on at the same time because there is a quick scene there too.
Okay.
I remember that vividly because I actually remember I used to spend a lot of time in Union Square in Manhattan and they were there.
Gotcha.
And they even made an SVU episode regarding Occupy Wall Street.
Because of course they did.
But I don't remember this Free the Nipple movement happening, and I lived in New York City at the time.
Gotcha.
So, but here's the thing there's the reason I don't like it. And I'm going to slow right now. I did not like this movie. The beginning was like, okay, cool. This is a movement. Let's see, this is maybe a dramatization about how the movement got started and, the troubles they had to go through. No. Like the first part was cool. The ending was kind of cool to how the movement spread to different countries.
Mm-hmm.
But the most of it was about these two characters where it was like, we're focusing on them as they grow through all this, but we're not focusing on the movement.
Right.
And it was like, because the main character is she's a reporter, and this was really jarring because they interspersed at least at the very beginning because she was writing an article on this, and she gets fired and then does all this. Do you remember the Aurora, Colorado shootings for the Dark Knight Returns, the theater shooting?
Actually, yeah, I do remember that.
They're like, oh yeah, here's boobs, and in Colorado today, a theater was shot up. I was like, wait, whoa.
Yeah, that's a whiplash.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, she was writing an article about I guess she was writing an article, but that's not the article she got fired about. She got fired about the Free the Nipple article. So this whole section of the Aurora shooting did not need to be there,
right?
Because we went from boobs to a tragedy.
Yeah,
like instantly. Like I have neck pain, and it's not from going to the gym.
Yeah, total whiplash.
Yeah, and then like the whole movie was her. And she meets who was supposed to be the leader of this movement. Like, they go around in bright capes and show their boobs. Which, cool. I get you want to do, you want to focus on the movement, but then the whole majority of the movie is just talking about them.
Right, it's more about the characters than the activity.
Yeah, and I want to watch this movie because the movie's supposed to be about the activity.
Right.
The part that, and I get it's a movie, you don't want to show the nuances.
Mm-hmm.
But if the one girl just got fired from her job as a freelance reporter, and the other girl's a volunteer. Where they get all this money from? Because they talk a little bit about like investors and getting some money, but I'm like, this is New York City. Shit's expensive. This is 2012.
Gotcha.
Like, where are they getting all this money from? Like, she did get her severance check, so they do explain some of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's $5,000 in New York City money.
Right.
That's not a lot. But like, and like at the end where they're showing the whole movement, where they have the movement at the end I believe that actually was Union Square where they're filming this at. And like they showed like stock footage of other countries are doing it. Other than that, it didn't really talk about the movement too much. At one point, there were like, the one girl was the main character. She's running around with her top off because they do show boobs obviously in this movie, but it's not salacious.
Right.
It makes sense. I would have been surprised if they didn't show boobs in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But in context, it's one of those we're not doing it. It makes sense in context why they are.
Okay.
Because the movie's about we're equal. We can show our top. We can go topless like men can too.
Right.
So she's walking around and she's running around with it. The cop stops her. The other woman jumps on the cop's back and is surprised she gets arrested. The woman's like, "Oh, we got to stop her. She just got arrested for what do they call it? Demonstration." I was like, "No, you got arrested because you jumped on a cop's back."
Yeah, I wouldn't expect to walk away from that either.
There was like, they took a big chunk about her having $25,000 bond because obviously you assaulted a police officer and going to a bail bondsman and all that. Like that was like focusing on these two, the majority of it.
Right.
They had one scene where they had like a fundraising event at a bar. Like, and you expect the way they had all these people show up and this, that, and the other. And, we're going to raise all this. This is going to be that feel-good part of the movie where they raise all this money to where they can make their movement where they want to be.
Right.
No, they raised $450.
F.
And here's the thing. Like when you watch a lot of these based on a true story style movies, At the end, they're like, oh, this person went on to do this. This person followed through and this happened to them after the movie or whatever, right?
Right.
No, so a lot of it was like, oh no, this is the director. They're an actor and director. Oh, this actress is an actress in Hollywood. Like they just focused on the actresses and not the people they played.
Right.
And then I wanted to look this up to see. I wanted to see how close this was to the movement. Like the movement was real. I wanted to see who these people were. I couldn't find anybody that like the people that were the characters in the movie. I don't know if those people existed.
Okay.
Because the movie's real, like the events happened, but did those events happen the way they did with those people? Because I can't find anybody with those names.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
And I looked at the box. I was like, this was a passion project. And I get it's a passion project. I respect them for wanting to do this because they believed in the movement. I get that.
Right.
This movie made $4,000
Holy crap.
total.
Yeah, that's so F. It's practically G.
And I was looking on IMDb about reviews, and all I heard was like, oh, the people that didn't like this movie are just sexist and misogynistic. I was like, no, I didn't like the movie because it sucked.
Right.
So, yeah. First one on Tubi or not Tubi, I didn't like.
I think it's the first one either of us didn't like.
I would not watch this again.
You know, where would you grade it on the star scale?
A 2.
Okay.
Would not recommend.
Alrighty.
Matter of fact, it's one of the worst movies I've seen in quite a while.
And considering the kind of stuff you like to watch, that's a pretty damning indictment.
Yeah. I apologize. Once again, you're not going to like everything. So
Yeah, it happens like that.
So we're going to go ahead and spin. Once again, ladies first. Boct, what genre do you want, sir?
I'm not a lady, but I would like a documentary this time.
Oh, you got another doot. Classics, which could be anything.
Right.
And number?
4 always wins.
You love your 4.
I do indeed.
You're not getting it.
Oh well.
22.
Okay.
Classics. 3. Okay, so 6, 22. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay, so that's 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Oh! Have fun with this one.
Alrighty, what have you got for me?
It is called, hold on, let me pause it real quick. Hold on. Number 22. Are you ready for this one, sir?
Oh, this ought to be good.
Hasta que las nubes pasan. In parentheses, doblado.
Okay, I don't know what any of that means. I don't speak that language.
Nope. Well, first of all, it is a musical. I think it's a musical. A English musical, as in this was made in English, dubbed in Spanish, dubbed in Spanish with English subtitles.
What the hell have you gotten me into?
All I know is that apparently it's about Jerome Kern, who was a Broadway producer. I don't know if he did a producer or composer, but he was very big in Broadway into the day.
Okay.
But this is apparently about him because it has Judy Garland, Frank Sinatra, Angela Lansbury, Dinah Shore, Lena Horne, like people that are known in that area.
Yeah, I know some of those names.
So you're watching a movie that was made in English, dubbed in Spanish with English subtitles.
This isn't going to be interesting.
I think I know what movie this is. Let me see. Let me put the translator in here, and I think I know what movie this is.
Alrighty.
Yep, I know exactly. I knew exactly what this movie. This is known in English as "Till the Clouds Roll By." That's what that means in Spanish.
Okay, I haven't heard of it.
Okay, but you have to watch the Spanish version, the one in Spanish,
Oh,
because that's the one I rolled. It's only fair.
yeah.
I know of this movie. My parents I watched a lot of musicals. My parents were big into musicals when I was growing up, so I watched a lot of these.
Gotcha.
I think I might have seen this one, but it's called Hasta que las nubes pasan. Just look under classics, you'll find it.
Okay.
Movie dubbed in Spanish with English subtitles that was originally made in English. From 1946.
This is going to be interesting.
This is why we do this segment.
Absolutely.
All right, that's amazing. I think that's what you get for watching Kickboxer. Give me something cool like that this time.
What genre are you hoping for?
Anything? Oh, damn. I almost got thrillers, but I have true crime, which also has a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of your favorite genres, isn't it?
Or just any kind of thriller like that in general. So this has potential. And lucky 19. So true crime is somewhere. Somewhere, maybe. I don't know why that genre just disappeared for me. Give me a second here, folks. It disappeared.
That's weird.
I'm looking for what would be true crime. Hold on, let me see if I can. Nope. Ladies and gentlemen, that genre does not exist anymore.
What in the world happened?
Yeah, I don't know. We go from thriller to travel. So, folks, I would like to just get rid of that one and spin again if you're down.
I'm down.
Okay. Hold on. Okay! The gods are smiling down on me.
What you got this time?
Horror!
Ooh. And I know how much you love your horror.
I do. So we're going to go get rid of true crime. And if it pops up again on the genres, we'll just add it later.
Real quick, you hoping for cerebral or splattery this time?
I go for more splatters over cerebral, but I wouldn't say no to cerebral.
Gotcha.
17.
Okay.
So we go to horror. Okay. That's 6, 12, 18. I get another anime, sir.
Oh, really? What you got?
Wicked City.
Never heard of that one.
Okay, I like the sound of this though. It's from '87, so you got that the '80s style.
Aesthetic.
Yeah. The only barrier that can protect the citizens of the human world from an opposing world of demons is a secret police force known as the Blackguard.
Ooh.
I don't hate the sound of that.
Is this a full-length movie?
It's an hour 22, so I would say yes.
Okay.
You're looking at just under an hour and a half. So yeah, you get a dub musical in Spanish with English subtitles, and I get a horror-based anime. Looks like a horror action anime.
This is going to be a fun week.
God, I love this.
Yes, this is fun. I'm glad you suggested this segment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Once this episode goes live, we'll go ahead and put the trailers in so you guys can join us and then see our views.
Yep.
So, shall we get into the wrestling, sir?
Sounds like a plan.
This is going to be a shorter episode because both of these were hours long. We had a shorter episode of Saturday night. So we are going to go ahead and get into Monday Night Raw from May 24th, 1993. We are, roughly about 3 weeks out from King of the Ring.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Straight, we get the intro video and we go straight into Bobby, Vince, and Randy talking about going over the card tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And we get the final King of the Ring qualifying match for the at least third or fourth time?
Yeah, Doink and Mr. Perfect have been going to draws for a while now.
Yeah, so, and while Doink makes his entrance, this is weird. Doink is already in the ring, kind of sneaks under the ring. But before Perfect comes out, they cut to Lord Alfred Hayes, who is outside, talking about, they're like, Alfred Hayes demands time. And they cut to him, and even though we already see Doink in the ring, Doink is standing next to Lord Alfred Hayes at the same time.
What?
Yeah, and you can tell that was Matt Bourne, too, so obviously we know they recorded this ahead of time. Spoilers on the movie magic. But I thought this was kind of cool because they're still going over the 2 doinks, 3 doinks, how many doinks are there?
Right.
And out comes Perfect, and while he's doing his whole thing, Doink jumps him, starts choking him with the towel, beating him up with the towel, as Doink does.
For some reason, he's not disqualified.
Well, because he still had the 5. It wasn't an instant disqualification. He beat the 5 count.
Mm-hmm.
He had the 5 count because,
right,
illegal chokes and all that, so.
Yeah, I just meant for using a foreign object.
Yeah, well, that's also weird because I don't know if the bell must have just rang or something like that, but I think it's different. I guess it's because he's choking with it, I guess, instead of using, a chair. Which is, I also find this really weird. Like, now that you mention this, when it comes to foreign objects, like a chair, yes, disqualification. But if I run your head into the ring post, it doesn't count as a disqualification?
I never thought of it like that. Good point.
Or I can choke you with the towel and get a 5 count. Or I can wrap your leg around the ring post. Those aren't disqualifications.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
But if I use a kendo stick, it's an instant disqualification.
I guess it's the difference between using a weapon and using the environment.
Yeah, but the towel, a towel is not part of the environment.
Yeah.
But then, how is it okay if I pile drive you through an announce table too?
Right.
Because isn't
Right.
that a foreign object?
Yeah. It's weird.
Or like it was a DQ like when IRS beat up on Beefcake about a month or two ago.
Mhm.
It was a DQ when they used the briefcase, but it's not a DQ when we're using Mr. Perfect's towel. Neither one of them are part of the environment.
Right. Right.
Is it maybe because it's blunt force, I guess? But it's blunt force if you go through a table.
I don't know.
And technically, it's illegal to jump off the top rope because if you watch the refs, they do a 5 count.
I've never noticed that. Thank you for pointing that out.
Watch that again. Whenever anybody goes to the top, wrestlers start doing a 5 count.
Okay. I'll be on the lookout for that.
Because I guess they're using the ropes to their advantage. But then if they're using the ropes to their advantage and they jump off and use a splash, wouldn't that be a DQ too because they were using their environment to their advantage?
Huh.
Anyways, that was crazy. So we're cutting a commercial. Perfect has wrapping Doink's leg around the ring post a couple times. We come back to Perfect still control. And I like this because technically wise, this is relatively even because we know Mr. Perfect is perfect. And then Matt, at the time, Doink is still Matt Bourne under the face paint, who was very technically sound as well. So I was honestly not surprised at how good the technicals were.
Right.
This is the part that was weird. I saw Mr. Perfect was at one point was locking in some kind of weird modified figure 4. Like, I think it looked like, at least to me, he was trying something and either something slipped or he couldn't get a hold of how he wanted it to. So he turned it into something else.
Yeah, I wasn't sure exactly what he was going for there.
Like, it looked off to me. Like, the execution looked weird. But yeah, at one point, Doink does get control and he starts working on Mr. Perfect's arm.
Yep.
We go to a actually second commercial break with Doink in control.
Yeah. Yeah, Doink eats an atomic drop shortly after that.
Yeah, and then while all this is going on, here comes a second Doink, which I still don't know who. I only know who the Doink was at WrestleMania. I haven't been able to find out who the Doink was after this.
Okay.
But so he comes in, and they're both they do the little twin magic sneaking under the ring. And Bobby was right on this. Mr. Perfect hit the perfect plex for the win, like he got the win, but he hit it on the other Doink. So he didn't hit it on the person he was supposed to hit it on.
Yeah, I could tell that because, like Bobby said, the face paint on the one had worn almost all the way off.
Yeah, so technically Bobby was right on this.
Yeah, that was a TV time of 11 minutes, 47 seconds, minus whatever they wrestled in the commercial breaks.
And this was great.
Yeah, I agree. I liked this one.
But after the bell, both Doinks just beat the shit out of Mr. Perfect. He gets thrashed a little bit before he gets saved by
Crush.
Crush, who comes in. Obviously, we still have the feud going on with Crush and Doink. Their rivalry's still not over yet, but they clear the Doinks out, and then he helps Mr. Perfect celebrate that he finally, after 875 matches, qualifies for the King of the Ring.
Yeah, during that sequence, Crush overhead presses one of the Doinks, and that was really impressive.
Oh yeah, we've established just how strong Crush is.
Remind me, is that called a military press, or am I thinking of something else?
No, you're correct. It's military press.
Okay.
And then right into this, we get Mean Gene. And I've spelled mean wrong. I spelled mean like Gene. So it's MENE in my notes.
I've done things like that before.
With the King of the Ring report. And I like how he, they've already established, ahead of time what's going to happen. So Mean Gene's already like, oh, with the two Doinks, but Crush is able to help. Like Gene is actually there when all this happens.
Right.
And they probably filmed this in Connecticut somewhere, which we'll also get to that here in a moment. We get our King of the Ring report, and they're announcing all the first round matches. The first round for the pay-per-view, at least. We already announced that we're going to have Brett and Razor, and then Hacksaw Duggan and Bam Bam are going to do the first round. And the other two first round matches, we're getting Tatanka and Lex Luger, and then the Battle of the Misters, Perfect and Hughes.
All of those matches have potential.
They could. Okay, now the one I'm looking forward to, honestly, because we've already seen it. We saw it at the Royal Rumble. I'm looking forward to at least first round. We'll figure out how the matches go as we go on for the pay-per-view. But first round, I'm looking forward mainly to Brett and Razor.
Yeah, I remember the Royal Rumble episode from back in season 1. That was a very good match.
So, which one out of these four are you looking forward to?
I think I'm going to say Hacksaw and Bigelow.
Okay, and I don't know if you know who wins this.
I don't.
Okay, I already know, so I'm not going to say. So, who's your pick out of these 8 to win the King of the Ring?
Honestly, I'm going to say Luger.
You think Luger's going to win the whole thing?
I do.
Okay. I'm not going to say I already know, so we'll just go with that.
And I'm not going to look it up in advance. I'll find it out when I take my notes.
There you go. And then we get pre-recorded comments from Hogan. You can tell this was probably also done in Connecticut somewhere. Like, Hogan tries to act like he's there. I was like, this was... Honestly, can I be honest with this? This wasn't good.
Not particularly, no.
It felt like Hogan was just phoning it in, for lack of a better term.
Just going through the motions.
Yeah, this was just, oh, I'm going to beat Yokozuna, and it was just... And Jimmy Hart wasn't even on his game on this one either.
Yeah.
Like, this was just so... This was... Nah.
Soulless.
Yeah. So we go back to action with Money Inc. in a non-title match against Mike Bell and Tony DeVito. And now DiBiase's done something here I haven't seen in a long time, and I don't think you've ever seen this.
No, I hadn't seen this spot.
He did this mainly with Virgil, and Virgil was still his manservant way back in like the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And he would do it mainly like in like segments as opposed to being in the match. He would offer fans, and like these are legitimate fans, would come down the ring and have him do... Basically, he's like, look at me, I'm better than you. You guys need this money. I can pay you to do whatever I say, and you'll do it.
Right.
Like, I remember specifically there was one where as a little kid, he's like, I need you to dribble this basketball so many times, and if you do it, I'll give you $100. And he gets close, and then Virgil just kicks the ball away, and they're like, oh, look, you missed. Sorry, no money for you.
That side I never saw, but yeah, that's what a dick.
Yeah, but it's great. It fits perfectly. And then the most famous one was they paid a kid to come up $100 for, and this was after a match, for somebody to kiss DiBiase's bare foot.
Oh, jeez.
And they did. They did. He got the $100, and then that kid went on to become Rob Van Dam.
Seriously?
No, I'm dead serious. Look it up. It's actually on his one-of-a-kind WWF DVD. That was a Rob Van Dam, and they paid him $100 to kiss DiBiase's foot. That's
kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, remind me, and I'll find the clip, and we'll post it. We'll post it on the Twitter. But yeah, that actually happened.
Okay.
But anyway, so he brings the kid, and here's the thing: DiBiase was right. He's like, look at this. You guys will do anything for money. Da da da. I'll give you money. You'll do whatever you want. And he's like, who wants money? And they're like, me. He's like, he proved the crowd right, honestly.
Right.
So he finds a kid. This kid probably looked like, what, about 11, 12 years old?
That sounds about right.
10 to 12. And he's like, here's a towel, shine our shoes. And he comes in, squeaky, 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 shines all the shoes. He gives him $100. And then IRS comes off and has me rolling because he's like, hold on, kid. You haven't paid your taxes yet. After we take taxes, here's your $30.
Yeah, that spot was so good. So perfect for a heel team.
Yeah, and it was just like DiBiase, and IRS like, oh, nope, pay your taxes, here's $30. It was awesome. I love this. And then, like I said, this was just a by the blows, typical enhancement tag match. They do announce that we are getting an 8-man tag for King of the Ring. We're getting Money Inc. and the Head Shrinkers going up against the new tag team, the Smoking Guns, and Michigan's own, the Steiner Brothers, which should be fun.
Yeah, that's another one I'm looking forward to.
4 quality tag teams. But yeah, like this was just, we had Money Inc. come out. They had a great segment. We knew this was not going to be very long. They basically used this to announce the 8-man tag. IRS wins with the clothesline, which a lot of times he would actually call that the write-off.
Yeah, that was 4 minutes, solid for an enhancement match. Bobby did the TV gag again, but they didn't show it this time.
Yeah, and we'll get to that here at the last match of the show, which I don't know if that was the payoff to the segment or just happened to use that for the segment, because we do see the screens next here in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because we actually have a debut later on. As for the last match of the show, we have a debut. Double debut, actually. Because the manager and the wrestler are both debuts. At least Raw debuts.
Yeah, there's mention that Owen Hart is scheduled to have a match on WWF Mania, and I don't think we've seen him on Raw yet.
I think we might have with High Energy. I'll have to go back on my notes. I think we may have seen him maybe once or twice, not a lot.
I think if we did, it would have been back in season 1.
Yeah, no, I don't know, 100%. But I think it might have been pre-Royal, right around Royal Rumble time. Like he might have been on like once. You know what? I will double check that before the next episode, and we'll figure that out.
Okay.
Because that's I didn't even notice that until you brought that up. So I'll check my notes and see. But yeah, I don't think we've maybe seen him more than once or twice.
Right.
We're slowly, by the end of the year, we'll slowly start to see Owen Hart come in, and next year is Owen Hart's year. Like, I think '94, Owen Hart might be MVP.
I like the sound of that.
You have no idea. He has what's considered one of the greatest opening matches in WrestleMania next year.
Cool.
And I can only think of one, and we'll get to it next year. I can only think of one match that may even come close to being the best opening match of all time. And that was 20 some odd years after that.
Gotcha.
So anyways, we get Crush versus Bobby who?
Who?
Who's on first?
What's on second?
Was it Y's on third?
I don't know who's on third.
I don't know who's on third. Okay, then Y was in there somewhere. There was a Y in there somewhere.
I think Y was in the outfield. I don't remember exactly where.
Anyways, once again, I didn't realize we were going to do a Who's on First reference again on this show. And speaking of who, there was a nice Bobby Heenan reference where you talk about, Bobby who? His mom must have made out with rock stars from the 70s.
Yeah, I know of the Who. I've never really sought their music out.
If you've seen CSI, yes, you have.
Okay.
All 3 CSI shows had a Who song. All 3 of those were Who songs.
I knew Miami's was a Who song. I didn't know the other 2.
Yeah, no, the original one had Won't Get Fooled Again. Miami was...
I thought Miami was Won't Get Fooled Again.
Hold on. Yeah, it is Won't Get Fooled Again. Then, oh God, Who Are You? Who?
Gotcha.
I want to know who are... Yeah, that was... Vegas was Who Are You? Miami was Won't Get Fooled Again. New York was Baba O'Reilly.
Okay.
That's the one everybody always calls Teenage Wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually called Baba O'Reilly.
Okay.
Which is actually my favorite Who song. So, my favorite CSI was Miami, but my favorite Who theme song was on New York.
Tangent.
Yep, anyways. Hey, it's Bobby's fault. And not Bobby Heenan, Bobby Who.
Who?
Who, exactly. And actually, God, this reminds me of the Animaniacs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Slappy Squirrel and her nephew, I think it was.
Yeah, and I forget. I was like, who? No, the Who. I know. Oh, God, I just had an Animaniacs reference just now. Like, not even before this. Just now, Animaniacs clicked in my head.
I remember it now, too.
Yeah. Hey, neurodivergence, folks.
Love it.
There you go. Anyways, and then here's the thing. Like, a lot of times announcers will come up with nicknames for wrestlers. Like, The Game came from an interview Triple H did with Jim Ross where he talks about it being a student of the game, and he goes, no, JR, I'm not a student of the game. I am the game. And that's where The Game came from.
Yeah, I remember something similar when The Shield debuted.
Yeah, badass nickname. The Hounds of Justice. Badass nickname.
Yeah.
Or Michael Cole is credited with calling Randy Orton the Apex Predator. Badass nickname. I love that. Might be one of the coolest nicknames ever from Michael Cole is the Apex Predator. Right?
Right.
Considering the Viper, all the things he does, the craziness he does, I think Apex Predators might be the best Randy Orton nickname.
I agree.
But the fact that Vince called Crush the Hawaiian Punch, that was not good.
I liked it.
Come on, the Hawaiian Punch! Crush! Like, that doesn't... You know what? If you like it, we'll agree to disagree.
Okay.
So, but actually, like, we're talking about this. We know that Crush comes in, locks in the Cranium Crush for the win.
Yeah, 3 minutes and 26 seconds. This one was just boring to me.
No, I get it, though. Like, we knew that, going in who was going to win, but it was just... I like how the reference Bobby Heenan had us go on a 5-minute tangent that involved CSI and the Animaniacs, Abbott and Costello. Once again, folks, neurodivergence at work. Both of us.
Oh, yes. My brain is so freaking weird sometimes.
Woo! All right, so we do get an in-ring segment with Vince and El Chico Razor Ramon, who, once again, still one of my all-time favorite theme songs.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes out. Obviously, he's still pissed about the upset loss last week to who they are now calling the 1-2-3 Kid.
I like the name.
Yeah, I hear that's what it's going to be his name for the rest of his first run is the 1-2-3 Kid. Here's something I don't think you picked up on. Last week he was just the Kid, right?
Right.
This week, I'm not sure. Once again, they didn't announce him as the 1-2-3 Kid until this week on the commentary.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, when the crowd starts chanting, they go 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2. Like, why are they chanting 1-2-3 if they didn't establish that he was the 1-2-3 Kid until on the commentary this week?
Good point.
Like, I'm sure they're just doing it as a chant, but it's just something that, once again, neurodivergence. It stuck with me. Like, I don't know how that worked. Like, am I thinking? So I'll think too hard into stuff, and I'm thinking, am I thinking too hard?
I think you might be. I think they might have said 1-2-3 Kid last week, like right at the end, as the match was after the end of the match. I don't remember though.
But either way, like, that's just something I picked up on. I could be wrong.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so Razor Ramon, he wants a rematch with the Kid. He calls him Stick Boy. Offers him $2,500 for one more fight.
Yeah, I googled that conversion. Today that would be 5,260 or so.
Okay, good chunk of change for him to do a rematch. And then he starts talking to Razor about his upcoming first round match against Bret Hart at King of the Ring. And Bret Hart actually comes out.
Oh yeah, he's talking some mad shade.
But here's the thing. I kind of like what Bret Hart's saying, though. Like, I wasn't expecting Bret to come out. He wasn't scheduled for anything tonight. And he asked Razor, how do you think you can beat me when you can't even beat a rookie?
Yeah, that was a good one. Good spot.
Yeah, but I like he's getting into his head, mind games. It's like, you just lost to this rookie in 2 minutes. How do you think you can beat me at King of the Ring? Like, I like this.
Yeah.
Well, we got a lot. That was a good segment. We got a lot of movement going on with King of the Ring. Obviously, we're gonna have a feud between Razor and the 1-2-3 Kid, and we'll see where that. I know where that goes. We'll see where that goes. Like this, there's a lot happening in that couple minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we actually get our last match of the night, at least on Raw. It is a double debut, at least double debut on Raw. Like we've established that it's Adam Bomb, who was I think they said was on Superstars already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is where Bobby's TV gag comes back in. They use it to introduce him.
Yeah, and it was weird because Bobby's watching all the channels, and Vince's like, C-SPAN, that's boring. Who watches that? And then you start seeing static, and it kind of goes into a camera right outside the curtain, and it's Johnny Polo, who we've already seen on Dropkicks and Attractions.
Remind me where?
That was on WCW. That was the former Scotty Flamingo.
Oh, really?
Who is now Johnny Polo the Man. We see him mainly as a manager during this run Raw, who honestly goes on to become more famous when he goes to ECW. That is the future Raven.
Really?
That is Raven.
Yeah, I know the name, don't know anything about him.
Oh, I love me some Raven. I'm a huge Raven fan. But yeah, so this is Adam Bomb's manager who looks nothing. He comes out and Bobby Heenan's like, oh, I like him because he's rich and he does polo horses. So obviously Bobby Heenan, as a bad guy who's rich, Bobby Heenan loves him. Because Bobby Heenan is built from Beverly Hills too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was always built from Beverly Hills. But yeah, like I don't know if that was the payoff to the TV segment or they just used that to introduce Johnny Polo and Adam Bomb. We'll see where that goes because I honestly don't know either.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what's fun. They actually promo the movie Duplicates. It's happening this Wednesday night. I'm actually going to find that trailer of that movie, and I'm going to pop it on the Twitter.
Sounds like a plan.
So, well, we'll see just how good or how bad the movie Duplicates was. And Adam Bomb, for those who don't know, that's Brian Clark, who's active on Twitter. Nice guy. I'd known him, like, early WCW fans will know him. He was on there for a cup, they call it a cup of coffee, as the Night Stalker.
Mm-hmm.
I first remember him as Adam Bomb, and he would go on to WCW as Wrath when they tried to do the whole Blood Runs Cold storyline where it was basically they were trying to do the version of Mortal Kombat.
Ah.
And then it unfortunately got overshadowed by a little segment called the NWO.
Oh, okay.
Because they had Glacier and Wrath and Mortis, and they were trying to be like Mortal Kombat style stuff. And then once all the energy went into the NWO, this kind of just went on the wayside.
Gotcha.
And then he would go on to become one half of Chronic in WCW towards the dying days. Chronic, their finisher was called the High Times. Get it?
I get it.
Yeah. Been around for a while at this point. He'll be around for quite a while after. But yeah, he was also billed from 3 Mile Island. Get it? Because nuclear.
Yes, I get it.
So so this was just a quick debut for Adam Bomb on TV. He throws him around poor Phil Apollo a little bit, gets him with the top rope clothesline, and the same powerbomb Vader used. It was always known as the Thunder Fire powerbomb, off the shoulder
Mm-hmm.
for the quick win.
2 minutes, 34 seconds.
Yeah, I liked it. We introduced Johnny Polo. We introduced Adam Bomb. We're gonna see. We're obviously gonna see Johnny Polo does good things by this year, and we'll see where Adam Bomb goes.
Solid match.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get intercontinental title shot next week as Marty Jannetty defends against Bam Bam, and we're also gonna get the Steiner Brothers, which I'm cool with both. And this was weird. Like, this is the end of the show. We're about a minute or two away from the end. Bam Bam's backstage warming up like he's getting ready to wrestle.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
Like, I get maybe this was the live episode because I got, especially for the first several years, they had live and tape episodes.
Right.
So, but it's weird if this is the end and we know nothing else is happening, but Bam Bam's backstage warming up behind the curtain.
Right.
But he's talking about how Marty's going to have Sherry in his corner. So Bam Bam's going to have Luna. So we're going to see Bam Bam Marty Jannetty, which low-key could be a sleeper good match.
Oh, yeah. They both can go.
Yep, and then we also going to continue the Sherry and Luna storyline, which that's explosive. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to that match next week.
Yeah, it'll be a good one.
Yeah. Overall, and that was the end of Raw. Overall, this was a good Raw.
Solid. I would give this a B.
Yeah, the King of the Ring qualifying match was great. The Money Inc. segment was awesome. You and I apparently went off on 27 minutes about Crush without talking about the match, so that was fun.
Yeah, that happened.
Overall, there was nothing bad about the show at all, honestly. So we're going to go into WCW Saturday Night from the 29th of May, 93. This is the Fallout from Slamboree. And we go right into our first match. Paul Orndorff with Dave against Dave Hart. And Orndorff's upper leg is heavily wrapped right around his thigh and hamstring area.
Yeah, that's a pretty obvious target if Dave Hart can take advantage.
He doesn't at all. Orndorff throws him around, pile driver for the win.
Yeah, 89 seconds. An enhancement match, but it was okay.
It's Mr. Wonderful. I'm never going to say no to Mr. Wonderful on my TV.
Yeah, agreed.
We go to commercial, we come back, and Jesse and Tony are talking about the controversy regarding the U.S. title. We said there was going to be a decision today from the board of directors, and there is. So they sent it to Greg Gagne, who's representing the board, and they say, because of everything, we wait weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. We're just going to haul off the title and have a match at a later date. And honestly, Jesse's kind of rightfully pissed off. He's like, wait, that's it? We've been waiting weeks for this to happen, and that's it?
Yeah, that was really kind of... I don't care for this decision.
Yeah. And I was like, it's just like you didn't need weeks for that to decide.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of like, I'm with Jesse on that one. That was like, bleh.
Agreed.
So we go to our next match. Once again, a team I'm never poo-pooing on seeing. The Hollywood Blondes against Pez Watley and T.A. McCoy. Now, Pez Watley does have some Jim Crockett and Mid-Atlantic experience, so this is kind of fun to watch him again.
Mm-hmm.
And they do replay a Flair from the Gold a couple weeks ago where they have the Blondes on there with Arn and Rick getting ready to look like they're getting ready to have Lace Scrapple-Roo.
Indeed.
And so, obviously, we will see by the end of the episode, we will see where that ends up. But a lot of basic, I knew this was going to happen with the match, but I do want to point out, though, that towards the end of the match, Pillman had this just absolutely gorgeous dropkick on McCoy that hit him square in the middle of the fucking chin.
Yeah, that looked nasty.
Oh my God, that was one of the best dropkicks I've ever seen.
Yeah, and this whole match was fast and furious.
Yeah, what? Family. I'm sorry, but it's fast. I love the Fast and the Furious movies. I don't even hate. Everybody that knows me knows how much I love those movies unabashedly.
Yeah, they've gotten completely ludicrous, but they're good. They're good for what they are.
I see what you did there. You called them ludicrous. Ludicrous is in the movies.
I forgot about that.
No, you totally did it on purpose, didn't you?
You know what? Sure, let's go with that.
There you go. Luda. By the way, big fan of Ludacris. I'm a huge Ludacris fan. Anyways, once again, before we go off on those tangents, this obviously was all Hollywood Blondes, and they hit the one-man Atomic Blonde for the win.
4 minutes, 23 seconds. Average match, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was there.
Yeah, not bad, but just, yeah, there.
It was there. And then we get a replay from Slamboree of the entire return of Sid Vicious.
Yeah, the whole 35 seconds of it.
Yeah, plus the intro.
Indeed.
So, once again, as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate Sid Vicious more. So, and then, obviously we are going to see where this goes we're going to see where this goes by the end of the episode too.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot of stuff coming up between Beach Blast, Clash of the Champions in a couple weeks. They're already starting to put the pieces together for all these shows.
You see, yeah, it's gonna be a busy string of episodes for us.
Like I said, we have in a couple weeks we're going to be doing King of the Ring. The week after that is Clash of the Champions. In July we're going to have Beach Blast, and in August we're going to have SummerSlam.
Yeah, lots of wrestling coming up.
Yeah, wait till we get into the height of the Attitude Era, where each show had a pay-per-view every month.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough.
24 pay-per-views, and we're gonna go into my least favorite match of the night, and it wasn't because of one of my Mount Rushmores. It was against his opponent. We get the singles return of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who is going off on a singles after his tag team. We established what happened in real life with him and Shane Douglas. Shane Douglas is no longer WCW, so Ricky's going to go out on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Going up against Chris Sullivan, and this match was not good.
I didn't hate it, but I think that's the best I can say.
I picked up on so many spots where Sullivan was supposed to be there and he wasn't. Like, there was this weird takeover where it looked like either Ricky was going for like a sunset flip or a head scissors, and Sullivan wasn't based right, so he kind of slipped through and Ricky caught it in some kind of takeover. It was really weird.
Yeah.
Like, Sullivan was not there for that match, and it was just a quick match once again, and we're establishing Steamboat in the singles divisions again, and even the crossbody finisher, because he went to the crossbody because that was Steamboat's finisher. Sullivan didn't even take that right.
Yeah. The only good thing I can really say about this match is that I liked when Ricky did this skin to the cat like he was in a Rumble.
Oh yeah, that was one of Ricky's things. He loved skin to the cat.
Anyway, the match took 2 minutes, 34 seconds, and it was just
You liked it better than I did.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a ringside interview with Ricky Steamboat with Tony. Ricky's back in singles competition. He's basically saying, I've been doing tags for so long, it's time for me to get back to singles, and I have to study a lot of tapes about myself, and I need to study to get ready for all the new faces that he's in WCW since he went tag.
I liked the promo.
Oh yeah, it's Ricky Steamboat. Ricky Steamboat's in my my top 10, also in my Mount Rushmore, so I'll never say no to some Ricky Steamboat.
So yeah, I've learned not to say no to it either.
There you go. Anyways, we get what's routinely been one of my favorite parts of the shows since I came back, Flair for the Gold. And it's workout day in the penthouse.
Oh yeah, everybody's wearing their workout clothes.
And then, bless the poor woman. Can I give the MVP of the show to the woman who was doing the stepping?
Absolutely.
She didn't stop this whole fucking segment. Like, I don't know how long she was doing it beforehand, but from the time that the camera went to the penthouse until the segment was over, she didn't stop.
I did not notice that. That's really impressive.
Right there's my MVP, the step aerobics lady.
Nice.
Anyways, the reason we're all in our workout gear is our special guest is the man called Sting.
Yeah, and the whole segment was great. Sting was good in this. Rick was good in this.
The step aerobics lady was good in this.
Yeah.
But here's what I liked about the segment. And I know you didn't catch up on this because once again, you're 5-6 years into wrestling?
2014, so
almost 10. Okay, I'm closing in on almost 40 actually.
Right.
Here's the thing. Sting and Flair were always one of each other's greatest rivals. Ric Flair always said one of his best rivals was Sting. Sting said the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, Clash of the Champions 1, was it 1 or 2? One of the very first ones, Sting had a 45-minute draw with Flair.
Holy crap.
And Sting was a new guy. Flair basically was like, that's the next dude right there. That's the next guy, and I'm going to make sure that's the next guy.
Gotcha.
Sting's first ever world title win, I think it was Great American Bash, I'm going to say 91. was against Ric Flair.
Okay.
They invited Sting into the Four Horsemen for a while before he got thrown out, and then that involved RoboCop.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So they've always had history. Like, they've been opponents, they've been teammates. So there's a lot. So when Sting was like, he goes to hold the handshake, Sting's kind of apprehensive. I love that. That's continuity. Even though they're both good guys right now, Sting was wary of Flair, and I love that. He was like that the whole segment.
Yeah. Now that you've mentioned it, I can see it now.
I fucking love continuity. They didn't need to have this because they're both faces. But the fact that Sting had this thing going on this whole segment where he was so wary the whole time, I get you're cool now, you're a good guy now, Rick, but I know you. Awesome.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, now that you saw it, it's great. The little nuances, you like it now, don't you?
Yeah, now that you've said it, it's obvious.
Yeah, and how much better was the segment now?
Much better. And it was already pretty good.
Yeah. And then Ric Flair talks about what so far is my match of the year for 93, the strap match at Super Brawl.
Yeah, that match was so good.
And yeah, it's still my match of the year so far. So he's talking about how, you're the man, and Sting's like, no, look, I'm not the man right now. You used to be the man. I used to be the man. Right now, Vader's the man.
Right.
He asks why Sting wears the makeup, and he's like, I do it for all the kids that feel different. He told a story about how he, a kid that got picked on in school, he helped the kid went on to be a businessman, this, that, and the other. And then Fifi brings out a bunch of little stingers and a couple ladies. You could tell these were like fan pigouts because these kids were not actors.
Definitely not.
But he's like, you know what? Exercise is important to me. Because Sting was still jacked at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still in great shape now. He was just in a match like last week. He's in AEW right now. He literally had an 8-man tag last week.
Oh, I didn't realize he was still actively wrestling. I thought he was just doing promos and such.
Oh, no, he wrestles. Obviously, he's 62. He can't do what he did at 93. But the fact that he's still in good enough shape to wrestle.
Yeah, I didn't realize he'd been able to get back to it after the bad bump he took at Night of Champions 2016.
Yeah, no, he is. But here's the fact. I was 10 years old when this happened, this segment. I was 10.
Right?
I just turned 41 last week.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, yeah, Sting, another one of my all-time favorites, especially as a kid. I was a little stinger. That's what he called his fans. I was a little stinger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that. The context is just wow.
Yeah, like I said, this was 10 years old. I just turned 41 last week, and he just had a match.
Right.
Matter of fact, that was on my birthday.
Oh, it was.
Dynamite's on Wednesday. That was actually on my 41st birthday.
Awesome.
So anyways, Fifi comes out, brings out some of the little stingers. They do some stretches and some jumping jacks, and the segment ends. I love this.
Yeah, this segment was great.
And then once I explained the nuances to you, you liked it even more.
Yeah.
And I hate this, I'm not doing this in a punny way. Every single one of these segments since he came back has been gold. There has not been a bad Flair for the gold yet.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah. So we go back to commercial, and Arn's back. Arn's out of his workout gear. And they talk about the next Clash of the Champions on the 17th, which is about 2-3 weeks away. Arn's like, yo, y'all woke a couple sleeping giants. You wanted Ric Flair, you got him. So Ric Flair's return match will be June 17th, Clash of the Champions. I'm excited for this match. Arn Anderson and Ric Flair versus the Hollywood Blondes.
This one's gonna be amazing.
I'm so excited. I've yet to see it. I'm excited to see that match.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
So we get into our main event, the featured bout of the evening. Sting and the British Bulldog, who are extremely over right now as soon as they came out, get Vinny Vegas and Big Sky. I just want because we talked about this last week about how quick wrestling changes.
Yeah.
Especially when we had all the legends wrestle last week.
Mm-hmm.
We got Sting in the ring, and then Vinny Vegas, who goes on to become Kevin Nash.
Right.
Do you want to know? Do you want me to blow your mind away timeline wise?
Do it.
We get the NWO in 3 years.
That soon?
The NWO is established in August of 96.
And you said we're also less than 3 years away from the Austin 316 promo?
Same year.
Okay, yeah, that was what came up last time we were talking about timelines.
June was Austin 316, August was the NWO. 3 years away from Stone Cold and the NWO.
Got it.
Does that look like we're going to get the NWO in 3 years from that match?
No, it really doesn't.
That's how quick wrestling changes. Did I just blow your mind, sir?
You did.
Yeah. 3 years away from the NWO and Austin 316. Within 2 months of each other, by the way.
Yeah, I thought both of those were late 90s, not mid 90s.
Yeah, like Austin 316 was June 96. NWO was August 96.
Okay.
Which also involved Sting was in that match too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 3 years. And in 4 years we get Crow Sting.
Get what?
The Crow Sting, you know, the black and white makeup.
Oh.
The black and white Sting makeup, where it's like they base it off the movie The Crow.
Okay, now I got it. I didn't process that somehow.
Yeah. So yeah, we get NWO in 3 years, Crow Sting in 4. That's how quick wrestling changes.
Uh-huh.
So anyways, another fun fact, because you know I like my pop culture references, and I can't believe I haven't brought this up yet. You want to talk about how Tyler Mane, who was Big Sky, we established that he was also Sabretooth in the X-Men movies?
Uh-huh.
Talk about how big he was. You know what duology he also played in?
What he playing?
He was Michael Myers in the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, if he tells you how big he is.
Oh, really?
Like, I'm sure you've seen, I know you haven't seen the movies, but I'm sure you've seen the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Tyler Mane. That's how big he is.
Yeah, they just tower over Davey and Sting.
So we got basically Michael Myers and Super Shredder versus Sting and the British Bulldog.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. There's a size advantage, obviously. They both tower over the good guys. I don't think there's that much of a power advantage. I think the power is equal, because Sting's stronger than he looks, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, at this point, there was time he was press slamming Rick Rude at points.
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, like, this Sting was still up there with strength-wise, because he used to be a power lifter back in the day. By the way, he was in Power Team USA. He was one of the Blade Runners. So, I forget the two names. There was two of them. One went on to become Sting. The other one went on to become the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, really?
Yes. So, you're talking he's probably closing in on almost 10 years wrestling at this point.
Gotcha.
Anyways, but yeah, you know what? I'm surprised at how much I enjoyed this match.
Yeah, this was good.
This one surprised me, and I'm not saying that Vinny Vegas, Kevin Nash, was not good. And Big Sky, I didn't see a lot of Big Sky, and I actually didn't watch him growing up, and I haven't seen a lot of him here. I'm not saying neither one of those guys aren't good, but I enjoyed this more than I was expecting to.
Yeah, there were a lot of good spots here. They got the usual distracted ref spot. Big Sky rung Sting out with a full Nelson for a while.
Yeah, and then I also saw him do a jumping choke on Bulldog, who was on the mat for some reason. I've never seen someone jump then choke.
I haven't seen that before either.
That was weird, but I was like, oh, it's... But yeah, like, this was, and honestly, the bad guys were in control for the good 40, 50, like, this was about even almost.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, honestly, this was my favorite match of WCW.
I don't think I liked this one quite as much as I liked the peasant.
Oh, the Hollywood Blonde?
Yeah, I think I like that one more.
All right, fair. But yeah, actually, so yeah, once again, this was a really good match, surprisingly good. Big Sky actually hits Vinny Vegas, and then Bulldog hits Vegas with the running power slam for the win.
TV time of 12 minutes, 34 seconds. Definitely a good match.
Surprisingly good. And once again, I'm not saying that the other guys weren't good. I was just, the amount that I've seen, that I know of them at this point, and what I've seen since we've done the show, I was surprised.
Yeah.
So when we get ringside, apparently my notes say Sing and Bulldog, so apparently Sting can sing now. So apparently we're talking about Sting from the Police and not the wrestler now, apparently.
Apparently.
Yeah. And I like how he kept saying, Bulldog, this man is packed with beef. He's not your typical tea-drinking English gentleman. I was like, that was awesome.
Yeah, I love the way they were hyping each other up.
Yeah. This was the Sting I watched as a kid.
Yeah.
You can see why I enjoyed Sting as a kid.
Absolutely. So,
and then Bulldog speaking, and here comes Harley Race saying how Vader's not done with friggin' Bulldog. Sting's still Sting is still in Vader's eyesight. He's targeted. And then surprisingly, Colonel Parker comes out and take away Harley.
Yeah. So I think we may be leading to Sting and Davey versus Sid Vicious and Vader.
Yeah, Bulldog kind of gives it away at the end. He's like, yeah, Sting and Bulldog are going to go against Vader and Vicious. And like, I know that was going to happen, but you kind of spoiled it there, Davey.
Yeah.
Beach Blast.
Okay.
crazy mini movie. Like, White Castle for Fear.
You need a lozenge?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay.
So once again, this was another solid WCW overall. Once again, the main event was my favorite, and I'm going to say this now. I haven't said this, often. I honestly like Raw better.
Yeah, both. I think both shows were solid, but yeah, Raw was better.
Yeah, both shows not a problem. The Steamboat match aside, there wasn't a bad part of Saturday night. And I think if the Steamboat match was better, I think that's the reason I picked Raw over Saturday night, because just that match kind of made Raw a little bit better.
Yeah, it wasn't even Steamboat's fault. Sullivan was just checked out.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was Steamboat's fault, but it was enough to where it
dragged it down a bit.
Yeah. Okay, that is the wrestling for this week. As always, we're going back into now our top 5 movies and billboards, because once again, we don't go into those for pay-per-views because of the way the time works. Mr. Boxer, do you want to go ahead and do your top 5?
Alrighty, we're using the Billboard Hot 100 from May 29th, 1993. Number 5 is Love Is from Beverly Hills 90210 by Vanessa Williams and Brian McKnight, down from number 4.
Uh-huh.
Number 4, up from number 8, is Weak by SWV. I've never heard of them.
I've know of the name, but I've not listened to any of their music.
And then we have No Movement in the top 3. Number 3 is still Knockin' to Boots by H-Town. Number 2 is still Freak Me by Silk. And number 1 is still That's the Way Love Goes by Janet Jackson.
Oh, okay. So, once again, it's nice to see this, because you can also see what genres of music were popular at any given time, too.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm using IMDb Pro for the box office. We have top 5. We have 2 new movies. And so we're going number 5. Somehow, Indecent Proposal is still in the top 5, ladies and gentlemen.
Still? What's it been, 8 weeks now?
7.
7.
They made $4.3 million for a grand total of $89.9 million.
Wow.
Number 4 was our number 2 last week, Dragon: The Bruce Lee Story. Made 4.8 for a grand total of $25.9 million. Number 3 was our number 1 last week, Dave. Made $10.4 million for a grand total of $31.7 million. Number 2 is a movie I do like, Hot Shots Part 2. This is the sequel, obviously, to Hot Shots, the parody movie where they fought Top Gun and everything.
Mm-hmm.
This was the second one, Part 2, and that's how it is. It's spelled that way.
Right.
$13.0 million in its first week. Absolutely funny movie. Hilarious movie.
I know of them, I just haven't seen them.
Yeah, they're great. Those are good parody movies. The parody movies now are garbage.
Gotcha. Number
1 is a movie called Sliver. Not the kind of slivers for you Magic fans. Comes in with a week 1 of $16.1 million. And the synopsis is: a woman moves into an exclusive New York City apartment building, where she soon discovers houses tenants with all manners of shocking secrets.
Oh my.
Ooh, this seems like a mommy-daddy movie.
Sure does.
So, and then we always like to do the biggest gain and the biggest loss of the week. Sir, would you like the biggest loss or the biggest gain?
Biggest gain first.
Okay, and this is a movie you're familiar with. We're both familiar with. We've covered it on the show.
Oh, we have.
With an impressive 290.9% gain, Groundhog Day.
Ah, right. That was our second attraction, if I recall correctly. Back when we did Wrestling Then Movie Repeat.
It went from number 18 to number 10. So, and a lot of times when they even do movies like this, where a movie's coming towards its end in the theater run, and they know it made a lot of money, they'll throw it on more screens to try to get more. You've seen this a lot.
Yeah, just one last push.
Yeah, and this is what this was. It made $1.3 million, and it made as of right now had a grand total of $67.6 million.
Gotcha.
Adore that movie.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun covering that one.
Sure. And then our biggest loss went from number 8 last week to number 12, Indian Summer, which dropped 43.5% week to week.
Okay.
It made $996,000 and has a grand total of $13.3 million.
Gotcha.
So for those that don't know, when we have new movies or new songs in the top 5, we do put the movie trailer or music video on our Twitter page, just something fun, so you guys can see what was hot at the time. So that is Dropkicks and Attractions for this week. Once again, we always thank everybody for whether you watch it or listen to it. Thank you so much. You can find the podcast at capital D and capital A Podcast 1 on Twitter. You can find it on YouTube, Rumble, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Good Pods, Amazon, and iHeartRadio, and I know I'm missing one. I'm missing it, but basically we put links to our pin post on our Twitter page is all the places you can find us. I know I'm missing one. I always miss one.
Our Twitter bio also has our link tree in it.
Yeah, so trust me, you'll find us. You're not going to get rid of us. We're in 8 different places.
Yep.
Where can they find you, sir?
I am Big Boct on most socials, BIGBOCT. I use Twitch and Twitter the most, and then on Reddit, I use Boct1584, my old username.
Okay. And don't forget Letterboxd.
Yeah, Letterboxd too, still working on that.
Yeah, I need to add mine too. By the way, I am Xander Invictus on Twitter, Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Letterboxd, TikTok. Once again, you're not going to be able to not find me. You're going to find me everywhere too. So yeah, once again, thank everybody for watching DNA, and we will listen to you. We will hear you listen to us next week.
See you next mission.